What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. We'll talk about some big data coming out for tomorrow. It's going to affect how things are moving, and some big news that came out for NIO that's causing the share price to go up. But before I break into the devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a few things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. We deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. Deposit $2,000 more, you're guaranteed 40. The offering is very soon in just 3 days. Anyways, NIO is up 11% as we got some bullish news that came out. The first thing worth mentioning is the fact that NIO has exceeded 2,600 swap stations in China so far, which is a great piece of news. They're continuing to grow as time goes on. The cumulative amount of them continues to increase. This is a big business for them, and this is continuing to be very, very bullish as time goes on. Although the rate at which they're adding these swap stations is going to slow down over time, it still is very, very big as they're going to be achieving millions of these swaps. And they're going to continue to, once again, incentivize a lot more buyers who are very interested in a very, very quick way to get their vehicles recharged, essentially. So, very, very bullish news, in my personal opinion. But on top of this, I want to mention that there's some news right here about Maguire. It's raising its NIO price targets. It's about 56. I'm sorry, from 52 to 65 Hong Kong dollars. They're also giving it a outperform rating. So this is some bullish news. The reason for that, and the reason why that's bullish, is because that's equivalent to about $8 USD. We also have other firms out there raising their targets to about $6.60. So they're talking about how the swap station is very big and a lot of growth potential is there. So that's the reason why it's leading to a lot more upside, at least for the share price. On top of this, if you look at the way NIO is moving, we're getting an overweight rating from JP Morgan, and our short volume has been going down as the price pairs ratio is starting to increase. This is a sign that NIO is building a little bit of strength. Tuesdays tend to be green about 55% of the time. I'm going to see more volatility, especially during 11 o'clock a.m. and the final hour of the day. Also, just know that November tends to be a better month than October, and volume is back up to about 109 million, so that's bullish news thus far. So what do I see for the share price? What is my personal opinion? Right now, we look more bullish if we hold above some key levels, but there are going to be other catalysts for the broader markets that could affect this. We have this gap up here to fill, so I think that NIO could attempt to go a little bit higher now that this news has come out. So look for a small dip to about 5.75, then attempt to bounce all the way up towards the 6.25 area. Now, for the economic calendar, just know that for tomorrow, there is some data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. as we have the JOLTS job openings report. And then after that, we have the job quits and some important jobs numbers. So look for some high volatility tomorrow at 10 a.m. Besides that, we have some more earnings coming out. So don't forget that we just had Ford announce their earnings. Then tomorrow morning, we have SoFi and PayPal announcing earnings as well. Ford did not do too well because their guidance was not that strong for the end of this quarter, the end of the year. But their EPS was a nice beat at 49 cents with revenue at about 43 billion, once again beating expectations. So good EPS and revenue, but their overall guidance was not that great. That's why the share price is actually down right now. On top of this, I just want to mention that PayPal has earnings for tomorrow. We're going to be watching to see how well they end up doing. We're going to be looking for basically an estimate of about $1.08 per share for their EPS. That's actually a small decrease compared to what we saw year over year. And then revenue is expected to be at $7.86 billion. We'll see if we get numbers like that, so give this the time it needs. Right now, greed is still present in the markets, but we're just waiting for these earnings to pan out. So as far as NIO goes, I think that we are looking bullish overall. It could dip a little bit before it continues to push, but I think we might be going for this gap fill as long as we don't lose 5.75. If 5.75 does break, we're looking for 5.5 as our target, then 5.4 at the 20 EMA. We'll look for a dip and a bounce as the most likely cases to fill that gap. For other factors out there, we have SPY. SPY is once again looking decent overall, trying to hold up, but watch our 580.64 area. If that fails us, we're looking for 579 as our target. If we hold this, we could attempt to rebound. My gut is telling me this might actually try to pop a bit before it continues to dip lower, as we're seeing a bit of a downtrend that's being established right here. This could be a flag that's forming. We'll have to see about that, but I still think we have that gap to fill, so it might kind of pop and then drop as time goes on. There might be a small dip coming, then we'll see if we get a bigger move after the bigger tech earnings come out. So I'll be waiting for that. For ES, we could also be dipping if we don't hold above 58.65. There's risk of us coming down all the way down towards this gap fill to about 58.50. So we'll see if we come down here and we attempt to get a bounce or not. So give this the time it needs. For Nvidia, we're starting to dip a bit. We're below our 20 EMA, so this is a signal that 140 is coming followed by 138. We'll see if we get a bounce off that. Technically, it's a little bit weaker as we have tough resistance at 144. We'll see what kind of reaction we get. There is risk of this dipping a little bit lower. Then we'll see if we get a bounce. So give this even more time. For a few more, we have Bitcoin, which is bullish, approaching 70,000. We're going to be looking for a test of 70,000 very soon by tomorrow. So look for more upside on that. Tesla pumped very nicely, only to start dipping back down. So I do anticipate some downside. We're testing previous resistance becoming support at 260. Could rebound it, but then continue lower. If 260 fails us, we're looking for 256, followed by 250 is our next target below that. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. So give this even more time. For NQ, we're dipping right here. We kind of popped a bit. We could retest 20,450, but we'll see what happens with PayPal's earnings. If we're bearish, we're looking for 20,400. If we're bullish, we're looking for 20,600. We will see what PayPal causes. Technically speaking, we're a little bit more bearish looking, so it does favor a move to 20,400, but it depends on PayPal's earnings. Same thing with the QQQ. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 494. If that were to fail, we're looking for 492 as our next target. But if PayPal does well, we're looking for a retest of 500. So will we pump 5 points up or will we dip 3 to 5 points? It all depends on PayPal's earnings, so we'll just have to wait and see. For Amazon, we're actually dipping right here. We failed to break, not Amazon, Apple. This is technically showing us that we could be looking for the lower 230 to 231 area. We'll see if we bounce off that. So be very mindful of that as time goes on. For a few more, we have the IWM Russell 2000. We're trying to push right over here. So looking at resistance around 223.5 and our support at 221. We could try to push a little bit higher and we'll see if we get a rejection. So give this the time it needs. But overall, we're doing a good job in my personal opinion. For Coinbase, Coinbase is once again pushing up for the time being. If we end up losing 212, we're going to be dipping back down towards 209. And if we're bullish, we're looking for basically 220. So coin looks more bullish. I think 220 is coming as the most likely case, but it depends on earnings. Amazon might come down to fill this gap, take us down to about 187 by tomorrow. We'll see if we get a bounce after that, though, because it's still technically in a range. We like to get bought up around 185 and then reject off 190. So there might be a small dip depending on PayPal's earnings, of course, but that still looks very possible. Meta as well. We're pushing nicely here. We'll see if we try to get back up to about 580, then dip back down, but we're still range bound. So I presume we're going to be pushing for 580, then dipping back down to 576 and remaining range bound. For Microsoft, we're dipping a little bit. I think there's going to be a test of about that 425 area near the 20 EMA. If that fails us, we're dipping back down to about 423. So we'll just have to see how things end up going. We do look bullish on Google, though. We could be pushing for 170 plus, so we'll also give that some time. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow to give you guys another update. For now, for NIO, the share price is trying to push back up. As long as we hold up at 5.75, I favor that push back up to $6. Eventually, a break to fill that gap up towards that 6.25 area. But if 5.75 breaks, we're going to be dipping as it depends on earnings. So far, the share price does look a little bit more bullish, so it favors the upwards direction. With that being said, I thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll be back tomorrow in the afternoon. Until then, have a great day and peace out.